In the One Punch Man series, there are hundreds of fights that take place, with many of the characters being victorious in their battles, while others are not. But even those who have won a battle before have lost. So in today's video, I'm going to list some characters that have never lost a fight in the One Punch Man series. Now, before I do kick off our list, I will warn you that there will be spoilers for the entirety of the One Punch Man series across all of its media. So that means the webcomic, the manga, and even the anime. So please proceed with caution. Kicking off our list of characters who have never lost a fight, I have Watchdog Man. Now, this very mysterious furry hero has only been shown fighting a fair few times. His most notable battle is with the hero hunter himself, Garo, which was shown in the anime in season 2. And the other time he has fought was shown in the manga in a bonus chapter titled All Faction, in which showcases his prowess and effectiveness as an S-class hero and loyal protector of the city Q. And in both of these altercations that he was shown in, he came out victorious, which makes Watchdog Man an undefeated character. Now, obviously, I think the bonus chapter fights were a little bit more easier for him, as these were more fodder monsters that were created to showcase how strong Watchdog Man truly is. This doggy was easily able to defeat Garo by simply shaking his hands with his paws. And of course, Garo at the time was beating some S-class heroes left and right, and of course some A-class heroes as well during his early hero hunt journey. So obviously a really good feat for Watchdog Man, and why he deserves to be on this list. Coming in our fourth spot here on my list of characters that have never lost a fight, I have the very mysterious S-class hero, Drive Knight. Not only was it said by Sekengard that Drive Knight gets his unbelievable confidence from the fact that he has never lost a fight, but his tactical and calculated techniques and how he approaches fights is what really gives him that extra edge on why he is undefeated. Now, this robot or cyborg, we still don't really know, is certainly worthy of his S-class title because he has yet to lose a fight. As I've mentioned before, Drive Knight has won against a dragon level threat and cadre of the Monster Association known as Neon, which was no easy feat considering Neon single-handedly defeated the S-class support group, which was comprised of multiple A, B, and C-class heroes. And of course, Neon also left Drive Knight's battle energy completely drained by the end of their fight, to the point where he couldn't even move. But that doesn't matter when he subjugated Neon and of course won his fight against the cadre. Not only that, but Drive Knight joins Genos and Tatsumaki in their battle against Psycho Orochi, in which showcases Drive Knight's incredible technological abilities such as fusion and cybernetic shapeshifting, of course his energy blasts that do immense damage, and of course with the combined efforts of the other heroes on the battlefield, they were all able to defeat Psycho Orochi, and of course Drive Knight left that battle unscathed, making him undefeated. Here in my third spot on my list of characters who have never lost a fight, I have the #1 ranked hero of the Hero Association, Blast. Now, being the #1 ranked hero means that Blast has had his fair share of tough battles in the past. The earliest battle that we know that Blast was in was his fight against Elder Centipede, which was interrupted by the divine-like being known as God. In the midst of Blast and Elder Centipede's one-on-one battle, God made direct contact with Blast, allowing Elder Centipede to escape. Now, what's tricky about counting this as a win for Blast was the fact that Elder Centipede was allowed to escape. And not only that, but if you think about it, in the panel that was shown after their battle, Blast looks really beat up. He's bleeding, dripping with blood, and also looks heavily scarred. But this is probably because Blast was so focused on God and refusing God's influence. This probably made God really angry, and of course made God retaliate in some way or form. Of course, some people do think that God himself was the reason why Blast looks so injured in that panel, and of course other people do think that it was Elder Centipede. Now it's entirely unconfirmed who really did the damage to Blast, and I find it a little unlikely that God was the one responsible for beating Blast this badly, as he was distracted. As we know, God doesn't really get into physical battle. Usually God will send an avatar to do the dirty work for him, or some kind of monster, and so that's why I'm a little bit more inclined to believe that Blast was getting his ass whooped, but not for the reason you think. I do think that Blast was distracted by God's overwhelming presence, as shown in many times in the manga before, and so this allowed Elder Centipede to get a good hit on him, probably sending Blast to the ground, of course knocking him unconscious for a little bit, which allowed Elder Centipede to escape. So I guess you could count this as a loss for Blast. I mean, if the fight wasn't interrupted by God, I do think Blast would have easily defeated Elder Centipede, but I guess at the end of the day, he escaped and Blast was heavily injured. So you let me know if this is a loss or a win for Blast. Another fight that is kind of difficult to determine whether or not Blast lost is with Cosmic Garo. Their short scuffle did end with Garo steering his attention towards Saitama instead of Blast, as he viewed Blast to be far less interesting and instead opting to try to provoke Saitama instead. So I'll leave it up to you guys to tell me whether or not this little short fight that Garo and Blast had was a tie, a win, or even a loss. But what I can tell you for sure is that Blast did secure a victory against Empty Void in their battle that took place over 15 years ago, which left Empty Void gravely injured. But maybe in the near future we might see Blast actually lose to Empty Void, because as we know what's going on in the manga right now, we may see a fight between Empty Void and Blast, and Empty Void looks like no joke right now. He has consumed that very power of Cosmic Garo, in which Cosmic Garo used to go up against Saitama himself. So maybe this time we will see a proper battle with Blast and Empty Void, and who knows, Blast will probably no longer be undefeated, but for now he is on my list. Now last but not least, on my list of characters that never lost a fight, I have probably the most controversial character on here, and that is the S-class hero, Zombieman. You see, Zombieman is a character who relies on his regenerative abilities to make up for his lack of physical capabilities. You see, he isn't the strongest character physically, but that doesn't matter when your opponent can't even kill you, as seen in his battle with the monster vampire Pure Blood, in which ended in Zombieman being victorious. But in his battle against the dragon level threat cadre, Homeless Emperor, the magical hobo quickly overwhelms the immortal zombie vigilante with his energy blasts that reduce our hero to burnt flesh with no limbs whatsoever. But that still wasn't enough to finish off Zombieman, as he was still able to make it out alive due to Tatsamaki's barrier spheres. Now, shortly after the Monster Association base was twisted up and brought up to the surface, and after the defeat of Psycho Orochi, the cadres emerge once again onto the battlefield, where Zombieman finds himself against the homeless nutjob once again. Of course, Zombieman continues to struggle against Homeless Emperor, being reduced to mincemeat multiple times by not only Homeless Emperor but by the other cadres as well. But eventually, throughout the entire battle against the cadres, Zombieman was able to catch Homeless Emperor off guard and proceeds to hold him hostage and questions him about his powers. And of course, as he does so, God decides to intervene and interrupt his interrogation and forfeits Homeless Emperor's life. And that is when we see Homeless Emperor turn into sand or salt, completely evaporated. And of course, this leaves Zombieman standing tall and victorious against Homeless Emperor. Now, technically, you could count every time Zombieman has died and regenerated himself as a loss, but at the same time, you kind of can't, because he's still alive, you know? Just because he's reduced to mincemeat and essentially can't do anything to fight back doesn't really mean he lost. You know, he'll eventually come back into his full form self and of course continue to fight. But so far from what I have seen, Zombieman hasn't technically lost a fight or battle. So please let me know what you think in the comments below. So those were the 4 characters on my list that remain undefeated in One Punch Man, but I do have a few honorable mentions for you guys. Now, the reason that these characters weren't on the list is because of how super controversial they are. Even more controversial than, of course, Zombieman and Blast. But our first character on our list here is King. Now, King has lost a fight. Before he became an official registered hero, he was injured by the octopus claw monster, and that wasn't really even a fight. As we know, King is a coward and someone with a lack of physical strength, so he really couldn't fight back or do much really, but he still lost that either way. Of course, Saitama did come in to save him, so whether or not you count that as a loss, that's entirely up to you. But ever since from that point on, King hasn't been injured or killed off by a monster. I mean, unless you count Cosmic Garo's radiation, but that timeline was completely thrown out the window, right? So you let me know what you think about that. Another character that I have on the honorable mentions list is our main protagonist himself, Saitama. Now look, Saitama has lost a battle before. In his youth, he was beaten by the monster Piggy Bankin, which is a piggy bank monster, and of course he did lose to the bullies that eventually ripped off his sleeves from his uniform. So if you count that as a loss, then yeah, you could say that Saitama is undefeated. But ever since he gained his desire and immeasurable strength, Saitama has yet to lose. He's beaten the likes of the powerhouses that we know of, like Boros, of course Cosmic Garo, but I guess we'll have to see and wait for the future, because maybe he'll lose a fight against God, but as of right now, in his current hero era, he has yet to lose a battle. So that was it for my characters that are undefeated in One Punch Man. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you subscribe, drop a like, and of course, comment your thoughts and opinions on this list, and drop your list down below. And if I did forget any characters, please let me know. As always, read the description for more information, and for everything One Punch Man, reactions, reviews, discussions, and theories, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel, as I will be pushing out content until season 3 comes out, and even after season 3 comes out, I will still be pushing content. I'm Amir Punch, and I'll be seeing you next time. See ya.